Did Willow honestly believe she could stand by, watch her own mother consume a spiked cup of coffee, and just walk away with clean hands after what she just pulled? Are we seriously expected to believe that the so-called saintly congresswoman was completely oblivious to Jacinda slipping something toxic into that cup? If you ask me, we are witnessing the birth of a cold, calculating mastermind, and the moral compass of this young woman has completely shattered. Right now, the dynamic between these characters has morphed into a highly dangerous, deadlocked game of chess. We have Willow backed into a corner by her own escalating lies, desperately trying to maintain her pristine public image while her private life is a chaotic mess. Then we have Nina, the erratic but fiercely protective mother, who holds the keys to her daughter's destruction. And hovering above them both is Brennan, a man whose power and influence could tip the scales in an instant. If you look closely at the board, this is a stalemate fraught with peril. Every single player is guarding a massive secret, and it looks like the pressure has finally pushed someone to cross a line from which there is absolutely no return. The days of Willow playing the innocent victim are long gone, ladies. Let us rewind and deeply analyze this hypothetical, yet highly probable, sequence of events at the cafe. Imagine the scene. Jacinda, fueled by petty jealousy over Michael, seizes a momentary opportunity to drug a cup of iced coffee meant for her rival. It is a clumsy, desperate act. But here is the chilling twist. Could it be that Willow actually saw the whole thing happen? Instead of sounding the alarm, instead of confronting Jacinda or pouring the drink down the sink, Willow chooses absolute, deafening silence. When Nina unwittingly intercepts that very cup and takes a sip, Willow just stands there and watches. This implies that Willow made a split-second, calculated move to let her own mother take the fall, transforming a simple act of sabotage into a lethal trap. To understand this chilling level of detachment, we must dive into the psychological motive driving Willow's actions. Nina simply knows too much. We all know that Nina is the only person fully aware of what really happened at the lake with Drew. Nina was the one who pushed the wheelchair, but Willow is the one orchestrating the massive cover-up and utilizing the blackmail. If you ask me, Willow has realized a terrifying truth. Her entire carefully constructed life, her career, her custody battle, her freedom, rests entirely in the unpredictable hands of Nina. All it would take is one emotional breakdown, one slip of the tongue from her mother, and Willow's empire crumbles into dust. By eliminating Nina, Willow eliminates the ultimate liability. Furthermore, we have to consider the profound psychological shift in Willow herself. For years, she has worn the mask of the forgiving, gentle soul, but recent events have hardened her into a ruthless survivor. She has tasted the dark thrill of manipulation, especially in her dealings with Drew and her political maneuvers. Letting Nina drink that spiked coffee is the ultimate test of her new, hardened persona. It looks like Willow has reached a point where self-preservation overrides every single maternal bond or familial obligation. She is no longer the prey, she has become the predator. And the most terrifying part? She is doing it all while maintaining that wide-eyed, innocent facade that has fooled the entire town for years. But wait, there is an even deeper, darker layer to this twisted puzzle, and his name is Brennan. This brings us to a potential ulterior motive that goes beyond mere self-preservation. Nina is currently involved in a burgeoning romance with Brennan, a man of immense power, resources, and intelligence connection. However, Willow desperately needs Brennan's undivided loyalty to maintain her leverage over Drew and to secure her future with her children. Could it be that Willow is harboring her own complex feelings for the Spy Master? Or, at the very least, does she view Nina's romantic connection to him as a massive threat to her own strategic alliance? If you ask me, Willow cannot stand the idea of Nina standing between her and the most powerful man in town. This is where Jacinda becomes the absolute perfect pawn in a masterfully wicked game. Jacinda's sheer hatred for Willow is no secret to anyone, especially Michael. By allowing Jacinda to drug the coffee and then letting Nina consume it, Willow essentially orchestrates a flawless crime without ever getting her own hands dirty. If Nina falls gravely ill, or worse, the police investigation will immediately zero in on Jacinda. The motive is clear, the opportunity was there, and the physical evidence will all point to Michael's new girlfriend. It is a calculated move of pure genius. Willow gets to play the devastated daughter, weeping by her mother's hospital bed, while simultaneously removing her biggest threat and sending her rival to prison in one fell swoop. Think about the sheer brilliance of this plausible deniability. Willow does not have to actively poison anyone. She simply has to do nothing. In the eyes of the law, proving that she saw Jacinda tamper with the drink is almost impossible. She can easily claim she was distracted, looking at her phone, or thinking about her children. The unforeseen fallout of this strategy is that it leaves Willow completely insulated from the consequences. However, we all know that in the world of soap operas, a tiny, overlooked detail, a reflection in a mirror, a misplaced security camera, or a fleeting glance caught by a bystander can unravel even the most meticulously planned deception. But for now, Willow sits in the center of the web, completely untouched. Now, as we try to predict where this labyrinth of lies is heading, we must divide our theories into two distinct paths. Let us look at scenario A, the accidental mastermind. In this version of events, Willow acts entirely on instinct. She sees Jacinda's sabotage, realizes the opportunity it presents, and makes a solitary, split-second decision to let Nina take the hit. Brennan is completely in the dark about her complicity. When Nina collapses, Brennan rushes to her side, genuinely believing that Jacinda is a deranged attacker. This scenario paints Willow as a lone wolf, discovering her own capacity for cruelty in real time and desperately trying to manage the narrative before Brennan's highly trained investigative instincts catch up to her. But then we have scenario B, the sinister partnership. And if you ask me, ladies, this is the theory that will truly keep you up at night. What if Brennan knew exactly what was happening? What if he saw Willow watching Jacinda, and with a subtle nod or a knowing glance, he encouraged Willow to stay silent? We must remember who Brennan is, a ruthless intelligence officer who views people as disposable assets. It looks like Brennan might have realized that Nina is too emotional, too volatile to be a reliable partner in their high-stakes blackmail schemes. This implies that Brennan and Willow have formed a silent, deadly alliance. Willow thinks she is using Brennan to get rid of Nina, but in reality, Brennan is molding Willow into his perfect, cold-blooded protege. Regardless of which scenario plays out, the true dramatic explosion will occur when Nina inevitably survives this ordeal. Nina is a survivor, and she is not stupid. As she recovers in her hospital bed, she will demand a full investigation. Naturally, all the initial clues will point directly at Jacinda. Jacinda will protest her innocence, claiming she meant to target Willow, not Nina. But as Nina digs deeper, pulling at the threads of the incident, she will start to notice the inconsistencies. She will remember exactly where Willow was standing. She will recall the cold, unblinking stare of her daughter in those crucial seconds before she took a sip. The realization will slowly dawn on her, and it will be absolutely devastating. This brings us to the ultimate shattered trust. Imagine the sheer psychological horror Nina will experience when she pieces together the truth. Her own flesh and blood, the daughter she fought so hard to find and protect, willingly allowed her to be poisoned. The betrayal will cut deeper than any physical toxin. Nina will realize that Willow's saintly facade is nothing but a grotesque mask. She will understand that she is no longer a mother in Willow's eyes, but merely an obstacle that needed to be permanently neutralized. If you ask me, this revelation will fundamentally change Nina, stripping away her desperate need for Willow's approval and replacing it with a cold, hard desire for survival and perhaps vengeance. But the hits will not stop there for poor Nina. The final, crushing blow will come when she turns to Brennan for comfort and justice, only to realize the horrifying extent of his betrayal. As she presents her suspicions about Willow to him, she will watch his reaction closely. If Brennan brushes her off, if he defends Willow, or if he tries to steer the investigation back to Jacinda, Nina will see the terrifying truth. It looks like Brennan was never the loving partner standing by her side. He was standing with Willow the entire time. This implies that the two most important people in Nina's life have been conspiring against her, viewing her as a pawn in their own twisted power game. This sets the stage for an epic, explosive confrontation that will shake the very foundations of the town. We are looking at a three-way psychological war between a mother, a daughter, and a master manipulator. Nina will be forced to play a dangerous game of cat and mouse. She cannot simply go to the police, because Willow and Brennan hold all the cards and control the narrative. Instead, Nina will have to outsmart them both. She will have to find a way to prove that Jacinda, despite her malicious intent, was merely a convenient scapegoat, and that the true architects of her suffering are the daughter she loves and the man she trusted. The power dynamics will shift in ways we cannot even begin to predict. In conclusion, my friends, I do not believe for one second that this story is going to end with a neat, happy resolution. The writers are pushing these characters into incredibly dark territory. Will Nina find the definitive proof she needs to expose Willow's calculated silence? Will Brennan ultimately betray Willow to save his own skin when the authorities get involved? Or will Willow manage to outmaneuver them all, successfully pinning the attempted murder on Jacinda while keeping her own hands perfectly clean? I cannot say for sure how the final gavel will fall, but one thing is certain. The collateral damage from this poisoned cup of coffee is going to be absolutely catastrophic. Keep your eyes peeled, because the real betrayal is just getting started.